Before we go any further, take a moment and make sure you are subscribed, because what you are about to hear is not just another story about an old coin. This is about something that may already be in your possession, something that has quietly passed through hands for decades, unnoticed, unappreciated, and completely underestimated. If you enjoy discovering hidden value, if you believe that small things can sometimes carry life-changing potential, then this is exactly the kind of story you don't want to miss. Now imagine this for a moment. You are sitting at home, maybe late in the evening, going through an old drawer, a forgotten box, or perhaps a collection you haven't touched in years. Inside, there are coins, old, worn, ordinary at first glance. You pick one up, maybe out of curiosity, maybe just to pass the time. It's small, slightly darkened with age, and carries a design that feels like it belongs to another era entirely. You turn it over, look at the details, and then you pause. Something about it feels different. That coin could be a 3 pence from the era of King George V at first glance. The George V 3 pence coin doesn't look like something that would change your life. It's modest in size, not made of gold, not shining like treasure. In fact, many people would dismiss it immediately. But here's where things become interesting. Coins like these were minted during a time when the world was going through massive change, wars, economic shifts, and the transformation of entire societies. And sometimes, within those periods, small variations, rare mintings, and overlooked details create something extraordinary. The 3 pence coin of George V was minted between 1911 and 1936, a period filled with history. These coins were primarily made of silver in earlier years, which already gives them intrinsic value. But what truly separates an ordinary coin from an extraordinary one is not just the metal, it's the rarity, the condition, and the story behind it. Think about how many hands a coin like this has passed through. It may have been used during the First World War. It may have been carried by someone who never imagined that one day, decades later, it would be examined under bright light by a collector searching for rare details. Every scratch, every mark, every sign of wear tells a story. And sometimes, those stories align in a way that turns a simple coin into a collector's dream. Now here's what most people don't realize. Not all George V 3 pence coins are the same. Some were minted in much lower quantities than others. Some have slight variations in design, differences so small that the average person would never notice them. But to a trained eye, these differences can mean everything. For example, certain mint years produced significantly fewer coins. Others may have errors, tiny imperfections that occurred during the minting process. A slightly off-center strike, a variation in lettering, or a subtle difference in the crown design can instantly transform a coin from common to incredibly rare. And then there's the matter of condition. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. A coin that has been preserved well, with clear details and minimal wear, can be worth many times more than the same coin in poor condition. Collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for coins that look as close as possible to how they appeared the day they were minted. Now imagine finding a George V 3 pence coin that not only comes from a rare year, but is also in exceptional condition. That combination alone can push its value far beyond what most people would ever expect. But the story doesn't end there. Over the years, collectors have discovered that some of these coins were part of limited releases, special mint batches, or even experimental strikes. These coins were never meant to circulate widely. Some may have been set aside, lost, or forgotten. And when they resurface decades later, they create excitement in the collecting world. Picture a collector examining a coin under magnification, noticing a detail that doesn't match standard records. That moment, the realization that this coin is different, is what drives the entire market. Because rarity is not just about numbers. It's about uniqueness. Now let's bring this closer to you. What if the coin sitting in your drawer right now is one of those rare pieces? What if it carries a detail that sets it apart from millions of others? Most people would never know. They would never look closely enough. They would never take the time to understand what they have. And that's exactly why stories like this matter. Because every now and then, someone does take a closer look. Someone does notice something unusual. And that's when everything changes. There have been cases where coins that were once considered ordinary suddenly gained massive attention. A small variation is discovered. Collectors begin searching for similar pieces, and suddenly the demand skyrockets. Prices that once seemed impossible start to become reality. Think about that for a second. A coin that could have been spent, lost, or ignored becomes something people are willing to pay thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even more to own. And the George V 3 pence is one of those coins that sits right on the edge of that possibility, but it's not just about what it is, it's about what it could be. Collectors around the world are constantly searching for coins from this era. They are looking for specific years, specific mint marks, and specific conditions. They are willing to invest significant amounts of money for the right piece. And here's something even more fascinating. The market for rare coins has been growing steadily. More people are becoming interested in tangible assets, things they can hold, things that carry history. Coins like the George V 3 pence are not just collectibles. They are pieces of the past, preserved in metal. When you hold one of these coins, you are holding a connection to a different time. A time when the world operated differently, when currency had a different meaning, and when something as small as a 3 pence coin played a role in everyday life. But today, its role has changed. Today, it's no longer just currency. It's a potential treasure. Now let's talk about the kind of value that can truly change perspective. Most George V 3 pence coins are not worth extraordinary amounts. Many are modest in value, appreciated mainly by collectors for their historical significance. But every once in a while, a coin appears that breaks all expectations. A coin with the right combination of rarity, condition, and uniqueness can reach values that seem almost unbelievable. We're talking about numbers that most people would never associate with a small silver coin. This is where things become truly exciting, because when collectors compete for a rare piece, the price is no longer just about the coin itself. It's about the desire to own something that almost no one else has. It's about the prestige, the history, and the thrill of discovery. And that competition can drive prices to extraordinary levels. Now imagine being the person who finds such a coin. Imagine realizing that something you've had for years, or something you just discovered, could be worth more than you ever imagined. That moment is what keeps collectors searching. It's what drives people to look through old collections, to visit markets, to examine coins that others have overlooked, because the possibility is always there. The possibility that the next coin you pick up could be the one. And when it comes to the George V 3 pence, that possibility is very real. There are specific examples, rare variations, exceptional conditions, unique histories, that have pushed the value of these coins far beyond their original purpose. In the right circumstances, with the right characteristics, a George V 3 pence coin can reach astonishing figures. And this is where the story reaches its most powerful point. Because under the rarest conditions, when everything aligns perfectly, when the coin is from an extremely limited mintage, when it carries a unique feature, when it is preserved in near-perfect condition, and when collectors recognize its significance, the value can reach levels that sound almost impossible. There have been whispers, discussions, and private sales that suggest that certain rare examples could command prices as high as $5 million. Think about that. $5 million for a coin that many people would overlook without a second thought. $5 million for something that could be sitting in a drawer, a box, or a forgotten collection. That is the power of rarity. That is the power of history. And that is the power of knowing what you have. So the next time you come across an old coin, don't dismiss it. Don't assume it has no value. Take a closer look. Examine the details. Pay attention to the year, the design, the condition. Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest potential. And sometimes, the difference between something ordinary and something extraordinary is simply the ability to recognize it. So keep your eyes open, keep searching, and remember, your next discovery might not just be interesting. It might be life-changing.